Recorded Flash Voice.
Recorded Fresh Voice is a podcast that wanders the borderland between art and technology. We muse about ever-advancing tech and the ways it keeps reshaping human society, creativity, and philosophy. But honestly, it's not as heavy as it sounds. Editor Kazuya Sano and artist Miyuki Oka kick back and chat at their own pace, occasionally inviting friends to join the conversation. ということで、前回に続き、今回もほぼ英語でやっていきますが、よろしくお願いします。Today's guest, who works as a curator at the Yamaguchi Center of Art and Media in Yamaguchi City, Yamaguchi Prefecture, Leonardo Bartolomeus. Barto-san, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. よろしくお願いします。
YouTube とかで日本語の字幕を見れるようにちょっと頑張りたいなと思いますので英語でやっていきたいと思います。はい。So again, we introduce the Barto-san in English, your English bio. Leonardo Bartolomeus Barto is a curator at the Yamaguchi Center of Arts and Media Ycam. After graduating, he joined ruangrupa and later becomes part of a good school ecosystem. Working with ruangrupa, he developed an interest in the intersection between art education and community engagement, which then influenced many of his curatorial projects, such as Collective Curator Campaign, Curriculum, Moving Class in collaboration with Serum, the Flavor of Power in partnership with Bakudapan Food Study Group, Speculative Library, Ida Kaido Kikitori Art Project, and Dance Floor as Study Room with when the lion van old and bro. Yes. Barto-san worked at Ycam from 2019, and you did many exhibitions in Ycam.
That's my job. I have to.
Okay. And today, last episode, we talked about open education and the exhibition of the Ycam project MRT. And this time we would like to talk about the curation that Barto-san working in Ycam, and Barto-san is a curator. So we want to discuss about the curation and Barto-san's curator career. Yeah. Okay. So at first, Barto-san, why did you start the career as a curator? Is it actually you started? You wanted to become a curator, or how did you do until now?
Very difficult question. This might affecting my integrity as curator. I don't why I become curator. I'm not really sure, because I came from Indonesia, right? And I think back then, let's say 20 years ago or 25 years ago, curator as profession is not something that common in Indonesia.
Yeah.
In a sense, we don't have like, let's say, like curatorial studies or like in education, right? In art school, for example,
Mm-hmm.
we don't have curatorial studies. We don't have art history as its own major. So you learn art history as part of your education as artists.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what happened in Indonesia like 20, 25,
Mm-hmm.
30 years ago. So I was same. I was studying in an art school in Jakarta, trying to be a graphic designer, to be honest. Studying graphic design for like 3 years, and I fail.
Fair.
I mean, I fail is because like there's I spend too much money for like printing, like doing my homework as the university student.
Yeah.
So I feel, oh, this kind of study is not really sustainable for life,
Okay.
especially like financially speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So in my art school, during your academic lifetime, let's say between 4 to 6 years of study,
Mm-hmm.
you are allowed to change your major one time.
Mm-hmm.
So I would think like in order to save myself,
Mm-hmm.
I have to change my major. But to change the major, you have to be able. There's a several how do you call it, like subject that you need to pass.
Oh, yeah, subject.
For example, if you want to take paintings as your major, you need to pass like anatomical drawings. You need to pass like color theory or color psychology, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I don't have any interest in painting, so I try to find like is there any major that kind of like easy enough to enter,
Mm-hmm.
and I decided to move to pottery, to
Pottery.
Toge, because they have no student at the time.
No student. Easy to
So
enter.
so usually you have to do interview with the head of the department, right? Like why you want to change the major, because they don't want to just accept like students that are failed in one department to move to their department. So that most of the time, like you don't always successful to move.
Mm-hmm.
But when I apply to the pottery, the ceramic department, they said like, yeah, just sign this paper. Like, there's no need to interview. Like,
Not in the interview.
so then I joined the ceramic department. Then study for another 4 years, and I think it was during that time
Mm-hmm.
I was get exposed to this idea. There's a profession called curator.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because again, I have so much free time as the only student. I could go to many exhibitions. I could
Nice.
read more books. So then I start to kind of like get curious, like how someone can be a curator,
Mm-hmm.
because the image of curator at the time and during my study, it's someone who mainly writing
Mm-hmm.
for an exhibition.
Mhm.
And usually they are not really good at making artworks. That's why they become curator. That's the joke that we had. But I'm quite interested because I always interested to writings and to talk with people instead of
Mhm.
like making works. Like my artwork is really terrible. So then I kind of like trying to find like, but how do you learn as curator? Like who give you legitimation to
Mhm.
be a curator? Because at the time we don't have any institutions that give you a certificate like, oh, you are a curator now.
Mhm.
Um that was the time when I think ruangrupa, one of the collective in Indonesia, they're having this workshop every year. It's called like Young Curators Workshop. So I'm trying to apply to join the workshop at that time, but unfortunately, when I am the only one that joining the workshop, as uh, as far as I heard from them, so they canceled the workshop. Then they told me like, if you want, you can join the writings workshop. So like critic writings workshop. So then I end up like joining them in the critic workshop. And so yeah, I don't, the idea of like learning about curator is somehow like it disappeared. And then I was just like working mainly as writers and editors for like several articles and helping ruangrupa. And then I'm becoming more active with ruangrupa at the time, doing some projects. And at some point, they kind of just like randomly asking me like, do you want to be a curator? And I was like, how? Like, I have no idea like how curators work. I was like, well, you already did. It's basically like managing, budgeting, that kind of stuff, like archiving, negotiating with artists, like which I already did in about like couple of years with them when I start to join the collective. So I was kind of like, okay, let's do. Let's see if this is something that fun to do. And then yeah, so long story short, here I am as the curator at YCAM. It's really not really inspiring, but yeah, I think it's also affecting how I see um exhibition making, because I'm coming from more like artist slash educators background, not as like institution trained curator, like someone that doing like curatorial studies or like art history, which have more expertise in, let's say, in specific fields of arts or contemporary arts. Like some curators maybe have an expertise in certain mediums like paintings or sculpture, but I don't have that kind of like expertise. I'm more like focusing more how to creating the space, so then people can like we can have a conversation, and then how we can use art as a tool for learning, um like together, like a lot of social issues. So yeah, that maybe, I don't know if it explained like why I become a curator. Somehow I just ended up there. It seemed like why I working at YCAM. It's just like I ended up here anyway. Um, it's unexpected, but it's fun. So I'll try to keep doing this for the next few years, maybe.
In Japan, I feel that let's say the curator is a kind of it's bit let's say it's
Rishi.
uh, highly
Oh,
educated job, and it's maybe in the Western countries, the curator is like that, but
yeah.
yeah, but yeah, actually, the Baltsan is it's not same like Japan or Western countries, but it's actually Baltsan doing the curator job, and it's one another, let's say, way to curator. Yeah, it's interesting for me. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, uneducated curator. I should say.
It's really, let's say, real project educated. I don't know what to say, but yeah, uh, you
Yeah.
experienced so many real projects, and yeah, you surely organized many projects. Yeah, it's actually curator. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. I
in
think, yeah.
I feel in Japan, such kind of person, it's of difficult to say curator. I don't know, but yeah, I feel it's a bit difficult to say the person to
Mm,
yeah as a curator. Yeah, but yeah, it's a difference of the culture. I don't know, but yeah.
mm. Yeah, I think it's also because of the structure of the art scene itself. I think in Japan, I mean, Japan is pretty much copying what the Western art scene has been developing.
Yeah.
So it's not a surprise that there's a particular order of how things should be, how this institution, how the structure
Yeah.
should came up. So that's probably also like the biggest difference because in Indonesia it's I shouldn't say we don't have structure, but well, that's the reality. But things a bit more independent, I should say, in Indonesia. So then you have museum, but then you don't really need the curators to work.
Yeah.
And then you have the artist, but the artist also doesn't really need curators to do, and also like the curators doesn't need the gallery. They can do their project by themselves.
Mhm.
So I think it creates like a different perspective how curator as a job it's being perceived. And I agree with you. I think that's one of the biggest surprise for me when I start working at Ycam. It's like how I was highly regarded as curator, which is I was like, okay, I was like, this is too much for me. Because I feel like I'm just a well, I'm just a normal person, so to speak. I don't feel like I have better knowledge than any other people like um outside the institution. It's just like I have more experience working in a certain way,
Mhm.
so to speak. But true, I agree with you that in Japan, I think I also felt like the structure is really strong, like
Mhm.
kibishi, like rigid,
Yeah.
strict.
Yeah.
So, and then sometimes even like I think I have this image like if you study Nihonga during your art school, you have to stay forever, like practicing Nihonga. Like once you change your major, people will questioning like why you change your major? Like are you which is not the case in Indonesia.
Mhm.
Like sometimes I get questions from my colleague in Japan, like other curators asking me like, can you recommend like some names, like some installation artist name? I
Mhm.
was like, what do you mean? Well, artists who installation artists. I was like, well, in Indonesia, everyone can work making installation. You just tell them like you want them to make an installation, they will do. It doesn't matter they study painting or they study sculpture.
Yeah.
Um, so I feel there's this kind of like infrastructural differences as well.
Mhm.
Um, which yeah, I mean it's not a bad things or good thing. It's just like you just have to understand how to position yourself within the scene.
Mhm.
I think I also learned a lot from other curators in Japan, like how they conduct um, the project or an exhibition. How do they research and then how do they setting up the storyline of the exhibition itself. So I learned about that as well. But I also, like I said, I learned also like from the local people here, like how, because if you stop using the word art, it's basically just a creativity. And then outside art institution, there's thousands creative actions that the local people or the community
Yeah.
already did. So I also learned from them, like how then I could incorporate and bring it to the institutions um, as a program.
Mhm. Mhm. You started from 2019 at working at Ycam, and before that, you worked at the member of ruangrupa, and did you do the creation work around the ruangrupa in Indonesia? And from Indonesia to the world. That's yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm not really. I mean, ruangrupa is a bit more free, so we don't appoint a role to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, you are the curator in ruangrupa, you are the writer. I mean, we could play around with that. Sometimes I'm the designer, sometimes I'm the researcher.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I did work. So ruangrupa has a small gallery back then called RURU Gallery. So RURU is from ruangrupa.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where they asked me, like, do you want to be the curator? So basically to manage the gallery program for like I think 2 or 3 years. So that's also where I work along to kind of like developing the program and finding out like what kind of structures that I like to work with as a curators. But for ruangrupa itself, I think it's really free how you want to do the projects. So I think it also helped me a lot to understand that as a curator, you don't always have to be in front. Like you don't like all the ideas should have to come from me. But I can ask like my education team or like my other colleagues, the engineers at YCAM for now. It's kind of like to give input on how we should develop like things. But yeah, it's kind of, I think, I don't know if my work with ruangrupa should I call it as a curator project or not, but it's really mixed. It's really mixed. I I really I really like that kind of like free roll situation where you just try to find like what you can do to support the projects instead of like
Mm.
fixating yourself into one position.
Mm.
And I think when I did one of the projects that I did with ruangrupa, maybe it's RURU Gakko.
Mm-hmm.
It's a project for Aichi Triennale
Yeah.
2016,
Mm-hmm.
which I think we developed the project together as a collective, but I think they asked me to run the program because I'm probably one of the members or one of the people who often have like relationship with Japan at that time.
Yeah.
So I end up like doing that as my project as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think I really enjoy like those kind of like free roll situation, and having other people to kind of give their opinions on your project. It's really refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that free roll situation sounds really great, but at the same time, I think it's possible only in the like community, but the
Yeah,
people
yeah.
know each other, right?
Yeah,
And if you want to work for example, in different communities or different countries, you always need to be like say who you are, you know, what's the role that you are doing. So yeah, it's difficult. Very different situation.
Yeah, but I feel it's also something that quite interesting to play around with.
Yeah.
Like because like you can ask like for example if we do like one project, we can ask like the local community to be like the curators, you know, and it's because people will keep asking like what should I do in this project, and then I think it's one way to kind of giving a challenge not only for me or for us but also like to other people, and then kind of like sharing the power a little bit. Even for some of my projects at YCAM, I asked like one member from the education team to be my co-curators, which is maybe it's not usual, because usually like they're always supporting like the curators project idea. So I said like, no, let's work together. You can say if my idea is bad or like this is totally nonsense, like it will not work. You can say that, and then we can just build up on that. And well, it has its own challenge, of course. But then I found it's really refreshing to give other people the same, or like sharing the power that you had with them. Because I think otherwise you will get corrupted in a way. So yeah, I think that might be also working because I'm in YCAM. I don't think other institutions have that much flexibility to play around with the structure. So yeah, maybe that's one of the benefit that we had at YCAM, so to speak. But yeah, I think it's role playing is something that now I'm getting interested to, like how we can turn around, because I think it's interesting to ask like some like people who never considered themselves as artists, and then suddenly we can ask them, can you imagine yourself to be an artist? And then they will have like a different sets of idea. Like, you never really know. Or like asking someone who never cooked to make something. Of course, it might not taste as good as the normal cook, but it will be interesting, like to see how their brain is pre-wired for that.
Yeah. I think it's really unique approach that, especially in Japan. But I think that the typical curator in my mind is let's say make a vision and read the exhibition and let's say organize the exhibition and artist and like the control all of them. But I feel the Bart-san's work as a curator is let's say kind of a supporter of the member, and it's apparently let's say the curator in my mind is apparently not a free role, it's a role, but Bart-san is a free role. It's different. Let's say it's a different way of the curation. It's really I felt it's really unique approach. Yeah, is it common in Indonesia, or is it Bart-san's unique approach?
Maybe. No, I don't think it's my unique approach. It's more like because I was trained, I was educated under ruangrupa for like maybe more than 10 years. I think it's affecting how my brain works in some point. I think in Indonesia, like, of course it's similar. Like there's some curator that really wants to focusing on, like, you know, the conventional way of like how curators should be. So like really researching, really
Yeah.
engaging with their fields, you know, a bit more serious, of course. But I think my experience with ruangrupa, I think, affecting a lot how I see art as tools. Because I think it could be. I'm just curious, like why don't we learn art more in school, for example? Why we put art as the lowest subject in school compared to biology, compared to mathematics, like, because for me, also working in this project MRT, and we had the open lab last week. I mean, Sano-san visit maybe 2 weeks ago. You can see like artists and scientists, it's basically the same type of person in different polarity. If, it's if you say like, oh, artist is crazy, like who is crazy, like crazy like
Yeah.
with scientists, like, all this like stem cell idea, like you need a lot of imagination to work on that,
Yeah.
right? You like only science maybe not enough to help you to propel us to the future. And so I was just like keep kind of like questioning, like, oh, why we should like limit arts as something that exclusive. That's probably also coming from ruangrupa. um if art could be for all, maybe it shouldn't start at the museum. It should start at on the streets, let's say. That's probably one of the first um quotes or like philosophical thinking that I learned in ruangrupa. Like, oh yeah, it should be happening like right in front of your house. So like things like flea market, festival, community bazaar, kids workshop, that should be considered as on the same level as like exhibition in big museum. And yeah, I just think like there might be an interesting way to develop in here when I work in Japan, because then I will met like a different people, a different person, that working with community, working a lot with care of their own community. And then it just helps you to understand like the other sides of arts, like how arts could affect people, and then I think it's good to have like to focusing on process, not always product. And then how you can build confidence that of the people that working with you, like together, to feel like the projects that you did together, it's also their project. It's not only about your own idea to bring this forward. So I enjoy that a lot, but I also realize it creates a lot of problem. Um, because like usually, like if I did a project at YCAM, and my friends, my colleague would ask me like, oh, so what do you think about this? So I was like, okay, let's try to do that. And then what do you think? Like, what's your suggestion? And kind of like, I cannot give suggestion because, it's like, no, you could give suggestion, but I will be responsible for anything happen after that. But I would like to hear your voice on this. And it was just an interesting tension, I feel, for me, like how just having a role like as curator is changing the dynamics of a teamwork in your case, which I never experienced before in Indonesia. So yeah, it's an interesting experience. Hopefully.
Mm. It's yeah, it's I think it's kind of sometimes it's really difficult to let's say mm, it's difficult in the Japanese thinking way of the curator, and yeah, it's different culture. Yeah, maybe it's different culture in Indonesia and in Japan. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think.
But yeah, it's
Yeah, I think it's also my advantage as gaijin.
Mhm. In Japan.
I
Yeah.
think I think I can play that cards quite often. Like if things is like, oh, it's so difficult to kind of like bypass this cultural barriers. I was just like, yeah, let's use me. I'm your wild card, because people will say like almost nothing, because they might think like, well, this foreigner, like he doesn't know it. I was like, okay, let's play that card. Like,
Mhm.
Utilizing the card.
yeah.
Yeah. And I'd like to ask about curation. Yeah, we already discussed about that. But I read the interview of the ruangrupa and about you that the and you said make friends, not art. Yeah, it's really unique slogan. Is it ruangrupa's slogan or your slogan?
I think it's ruangrupa. I just copying it and changing it into Japanese.
アートより友達
Ato yori tomodachi. I forget which. I mean, there's a lot of like very cool quotes in ruangrupa, like, but not everything should like applicable. But I think one of it is like, make friends, not art. It's kind of like our hiniku, our jokes
Yeah, yeah.
among us,
Mhm.
because we always joke like, oh, most of our member is very bad artists. That's why we group together.
Mhm.
And that's also like they always joke about me. It's like, you are a very bad and ceramic artist. That's why you become curator. That's so then I think it's kind of helped a lot. But I think it started because ruangrupa itself, they start the collective
Mhm.
based on friendship. So there's nothing big behind it. There's no one in the beginning that has this idea, oh, we want to be, let's group together to be the artistic director of Documenta. I don't think people no one have that idea. But I think the first purpose, when they're making the collective maybe 25 years ago, is to support each other, because at that time, if you graduate as an artist, it's really difficult for you to survive. I mean, in Japan, I think it's also most of the case. Art doesn't really give you a good life once you graduate. So the idea is more like how you can supporting your friends,
Mhm.
and by doing that is like, let's not focusing on the art side first. Let's focusing on like, if we can be a good friends first,
Mhm.
then we can talk about making arts together.
Mhm.
Because it's almost nonsense. Like, you cannot make a good art if you don't know like who you're working with.
Yeah.
That's how I translating that into my curatorial project. So any exhibitions that I did, I always try to be friends with the artist first.
Mhm.
Or like, let's say, I try to get to know them, and if the vibes, the jokes is match, the
Yes.
humor is match, the whatever, like the anything's not the art itself.
Yeah.
Just as human, like, try to be friends. And then if everything clicks, then we can talk the next step, like maybe making an exhibition or a project. That's also what happened with Oron and for this project. Like I don't approach Oron as because he is the pioneer of tissue arts, engineering, culture, whatsoever. I'm interested because his humor taste, like it's just match with us. And then, because then if you have a good relationship with the artist, I think it's 199% to guarantee you can make a good project with them, because you can have a good communication with them. And of course there will be problem happening, budget, or maybe like something that cannot be realized, but because you have been in a good relationship, you can talk
Yeah.
about it as a friends.
Yeah.
That's really important. So yeah, I mean, I really like the quote. So I mean, for some people maybe it looks like a joke at the beginning. I was like, oh, make friends, not art. So why you are working as curator? But it's true. It's true. For me, that's how I try to interpret that words, and it really helps me a lot, I should say. I think the projects that we did in Aichi, for example, like I'm still in a good relationship with most of the participant in the projects, and it just like, and it's not fake. It's not like, oh, I'm a curator of YCAM. Now every time I go, like, people will come. It's just like, okay, let's hang out, let's drink together, izakaya, whatsoever. And then I think we need more something like that in the art scene. Something that a bit more honest, kind of.
Mhm.
If-
I think Bartsan has great communication skills. Many people, to the many people. Is it sometimes difficult to make friends? Even Bartsan? Let's say,
What I mean.
do you have a time to, let's say, cannot, uh, let's say, to communicate, or let's say,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think.
for you, let's say, I don't know what to say, but yeah, uh, do you have, it's uh, do you have the time that it is difficult to uh, make friends in the
Oh,
work?
maybe I'm not sure, but I think I have so far in my life. I've been quite fortunate that I always met a friend.
Mhm.
Always. In the case, I'm not sure, like whether they consider me as their friend, I don't know. But I
But
think, yeah, I think I just try to get to know, like, how people thinks. At some point, I think it's one thing to make friends, but I don't but I never met someone and asking them, like, okay, let's be friends. It's so crazy.
yeah, it's so
It
great.
is. I think whether you can be a good friends or not once you met with them. Like, you just know when you actually, like, talk with them, and then see if there's a lot of interesting overlap, of interest, between two or three or four of you. But I think, yeah, I think just try to be kind is it's more important for me, I
Mhm.
think. I mean, whether we can be friends or not, it could be another case,
Mhm.
but just try to kind of, like, understand
Mhm.
and be kind. Especially, I think nowadays, I think our global politics, not only in Japan, but I think everywhere in the world, like, people tends to put label on on themselves, like I'm right or I'm left or whatever that means. And then sometimes it creates like this separation because you don't want to talk with them and then they don't want to talk with you. So I think I don't really mind with that whether people wants to label themselves, but I think as a human, that's my understanding is just like trying to understand what you want to speak and whether we can get along in that direction. So that's also important, I think, when you're making an exhibition as well, because you cannot addressing or like making an exhibition for like one certain group of people, right? Let's say Project MRT is based on Marx metabolic rift, but I cannot all say, oh, this project is only for people who are left
Mm-hmm.
in their ideology. It have to be for everyone. So then sometimes people that have different opinion or different ideology will come to you and then questioning you like, why are you bringing this exhibition? And I think if you are not ready to listen to them and try to understand where they're coming from, it's the conversation will never happen. It's just like, but I think people is people, human is human. So I think at some point the wall will crumble and then you just become a human, and then whether you agree or not to the purpose of the exhibition or to the idea that being offered, it's up to you, but then we can always have conversation about it. That's also the same thing that happened when I did this Shokotorinri project, because the artists, they want to discuss about how agricultural violence happened during the occupation, which means like when the Japanese army came, they changed the whole agricultural system, which then affecting a lot of things, right? I think for some audience, it's a bit sensitive issue, like it's a bit personal because maybe they kind of like experiencing the wartime as well. Um, but my standpoint is never to say like you are on the wrong side, I'm on the right side. It's always just like, okay, what's happened with us right now? And then how then we can try to understand each other from this point onwards. And I think for me, that's how I try to make friends with people. Just try to understand what them, because and then by saying friends, I don't mean like people that always like 24 hours like I get in touch with. It could be like someone that I met maybe once every months or like once in every year, but then I think we had a good conversation. So I think it's it's very it's very very human to do something like that.
Yeah, I think I thought that that is based on the Indonesian culture. Let's say I heard that the let's say around for example Documenta 15 and ruangrupa's stance of the runbun or some such kind of things that is thinking way and the kind of culture in Indonesia and and over and even let's say and over that the let's say or Bartsan's original approach of the let's say curation and that's making friends and communicate with every people around the exhibition or artworks and some such kind of things. Yeah, it's really interesting and it is important ways to curation and it's I think it's let's say I heard about the curation. Let's say I heard that from the young generation curator in Japan that the curation is changing from the ancient times. That is a post modern era. That was a curator is a collector, and after that, curator is a editor. It is a just 10 years ago or something. But in these days, it's a curator. The work is a kind of mediator or activist. So that is apparently affected from the ruangrupa's activity. And yeah, such kind of, let's say, one of the post-colonialism or something. Yeah, yeah. Not just Western thinking way, but yeah, it's another important thinking way. So yeah, it's really interesting approach. I thought the Bart's approach is really interesting, and yeah, it was really interesting discussion. Yeah, it was really interesting today. Yeah.
Nice. I like the idea of like role playing, like curators, visitors, artists are always like just playing their role, like at that point, and then we're just friends and human, and do some conversation at different situation, maybe playing different roles. So that's a kind of situation, or you're generating maybe around you.
I think it's I mean, for me, mainly for the curator is more like caretaker in an institution, taking care for many things, so artists and also like maybe your colleagues. I think that's maybe the basic stuff of curators from my point of view. So that's why I think it's always nice to kind of keep changing the roles, and I think it helps you to grow as well. Because I mean, sometimes like having one particular title like always embedded to you, it kind of like makes you really stiff in a sense. So like you can keep changing. At some point you become artist, next point you become curator, next point you become teacher, and it really helps you to understand there's more to life, and maybe helps to understand also how your audience, your public is trying to understand the project as well. And yeah, so I think it's maybe not to doing that in an institutional setting. It can create a lot of like chaos. But so far I think I could experiment with that at YCAM. It's just an interesting thing. Maybe next time I will ask the education team to be the curators.
Yeah.
I think everyone will like, oh no. But yeah. I think the role of curator will always changing, especially with the way we see the institution is also changing now. Because usually it used to be like the canon, like the big whatever controller or like the big provider of like all this education. But I think in Japan right now there's a lot of interesting community-based project, interesting alternative space, interesting art centers that don't limit themselves into like the conventional museum style. So I think it will create like a different kind of curators in the future, which hopefully it could helps the art scene in Japan overall to kind of like grow and maybe like have a bit more diversity in terms of practice.
Yeah. we also try to make the kind of community in around the art in Sapporo. Yeah, and yeah, it's very interesting activity and important activity for us. Yeah, so please come to Sapporo. Let's talk about that.
Visit us.
Yeah, visit
I
us.
will. I want to visit Sapporo again.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I finished this. Recorded Fresh Voice is produced and released with support from the Fukushima Foundation for Creative Osaka. If there's anything you'd like to hear about art and technology, topics you want Miyuki-san or Kazuya to tackle, or guests you'd love us to invite, feel free to send a message through the form in the show notes. We are also happy to read your comments on Spotify and YouTube. You can watch the show there as a video podcast. So please follow, subscribe, and give us a like if you enjoy it. ということで、ありがとうございました。Thank you so much today.
ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。それでは、
はい
また来週ありがとうございます。ごきげんよう。
ごきげん